All right, you're welcome back as you're talking the state of the nation. The defense headquarters clarified on Sunday that an army lieutenant was killed and 4 soldiers were wounded during a Boko Haram ambush along the Buratai, Buni Gari road last Thursday. Major General Edward Buba, Director of Defense Media Operations, disclosed this information during a statement. A titled report on ambush along Road Buratai to Buni Gari in Operation Hadin Kai, Operation Theater. Also in Kogi State, the governor of Kogi State, Ododo, in other news, talked about how 25 people were killed by gunmen in Kogi State. The governor, Usman Ododo, vowed to bring the assailant to justice following the attack on the Agojeju Odo community in Omala local government area, and that happened on the 5th of April. And the governor also condemned the act as a dastardly act and deployed security operatives to track down the perpetrators. Additionally, a delegation led by Deputy Governor Joel Oyibo Salifu was sent on a condolence visit to the affected community. Okay, like I told us, we have Mr. Akin Fatunke. He's a chartered accountant and a public affairs analyst. He's here with us in the studio. Right now, Mr. Akin, this actually was what we were looking at before we went on that quick break, talking about how Bala returned back to Taraba in grand style. And not just that, also one of the dailies, the Daily Nationals we look at this morning said that the people who actually are carrying out the dastardly act of killing innocents now runs in camouflage, which actually is meant to be for the military. What do you have to say about this morning? 25 dead in Kogi State, and the death of a lieutenant and wounding of 4 other soldiers.
My heart continues to bleed. And if my dating is not wrong, the one in Kogi and then the one up or not in the Timbuktu axis of Borno State happened on April 5. Fina, what do you expect me to feel? How do I expect me to feel? Other than the fact that I am persuaded that Nigeria is not safe. Nigeria is not on sound footing when it comes to provision of preservation of life and property. No doubt about that. It has been on for quite a while. Recognize minimal efforts that has happened this far, but sometimes you take 2 steps forward, you take 5 steps backwards. I state from the onset, President Bola Tinubu has his work cut out for him, but he is not the only one that has to do the works. The subnationals also have to do the works. I want to begin to see movement beyond motion on community policing, decentralizing the police. I want to begin to see serious action, gone beyond what Mr. Ododo and Mr. Ubasani in Kaduna will say, we will pursue. I'm tired of all this pursuit. Can we, for once, begin to take concrete steps and action? Don't forget, David, like I mentioned, most economists will tell you, no 2 people will look at the same prism and call it the same thing. Call it ceteris paribus. In the process, we may make a mistake. I know there are issues surrounding state police, but not taking an action is not going to help. More funding have gone to the states now. So can we begin to see this being trickled down to the local government areas? Can we begin to see collaboration and cooperation and peer reviews between regions?
No, I'm talking about the state
in terms of the kind of Amatekum we have in here, can it go up there rather than the Hezbollah thing that we are saying there? Unfortunately, my heart goes to these gallant officers that we continue to lose on a regular basis.
Yeah.
It is not worth it. We need to do more of intelligence policing. and everybody has to be involved. You, me,
Everyone.
they. Yeah.
Now, talking about that state policing, some governors actually have come out, or rather said that they prefer forest guards to be used instead of the community, the community policing that a lot of people actually have been clamoring for to be what will help us in Nigeria to curb the issue of insecurity. Now, do you think it's going to actually make headway, us having state policing?
They can be complementary. They cannot necessarily substitute. Will your forest guard carry arms? Big question. So if they carry arms, are they not going to be trained in paramilitary? So why are we trying to avoid what should be avoided? Look, policing should go to the local government community area. In your area, there should be some kind of policing powered by your CDA. They may not necessarily carry arms, and they may just continue to give intelligence report. I am going to call out 2 people. I don't know if they are part of the 16 so far that have said yes, we are prepared to go on state polices. I want to call out Ododo in Kogi. I want to call out Obasani. If they have, good. If they have not, you see, you begin to now then see where you have to sift the men from the chaff. Governance is serious business. You've got to get to the root of it. And then again, all this one that we are, like in a foreign currency, we are recycling. You get a Wadume, you take him back in there. You get Boko Haram, you pull them back into the military. It just tells us that we are not very serious. There's also something that I noticed.
Okay.
We say it's not happening in my backyard yet. It's happening there. It's such a very silly, very selfish way of thinking. There is no part of Nigeria now that is safe. Not only that, kidnappers are writing letters, bandits are writing letters, and they are everywhere in all sections of our country. The earlier we wake up to smell this coffee and get the aroma straight in to say Nigeria is not safe. Nigeria has become unwieldy. We must break it down and begin to tackle this issue of security heads on. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, yes, I agree, you made the pronouncement, you've asked the state to go on, but I also know that you also made pronouncements. You don't have the power to coerce the state, but you have influence to be able to tell them. The kind of influence that you openly made and told your governors that you now have more money, pay this minimum wage, pay this supplementation. Likewise, Mr. President must keep the fire, not just under his own feet, but under the feet of all the other governors. We must take security seriously.
All right, talking about taking security seriously, with the issue of some people have called for amnesty for bandits and some terrorist groups. They've called for consultations, conversation, dialogue. And we do know that in certain climes, when a military personnel is killed, be it in action or ambushed, whatever the case may be, perpetrators don't go scot-free. What are your thoughts on the fact that these bandits, Boko Haram, kidnappers, whichever tag is placed on them, go ahead, deplete the military force, deplete the personnel, and certain individuals still ask that they be given some sort of amnesty?
I disagree. I disagree not because I have, a solution. Because people talk about kinetic. I also know that in security studies, right? Moses, you have had it. That if you are going on the way final, you have had it, and then somebody comes to mug you, you don't rush, maybe you beg, maybe you surrender, you do all these kind of things to just sort them. But these guys are on high cocaine and high drugs. The Bible and the Quran that I think I know a little bit about says he who wields the sword must die by the sword. You've seen me in your studios here. When kidnappers kidnapped those kids, I made it open. And you can call me a weakling. I said, please, you kidnappers, don't harm these children. That is the best I can do. I also said, kill. Know that not only will you be killed, and you will be killed badly returned.
Why are we
now
thinking of? Why are we towing the line of the conversation?
We now have
some sort of amnesty.
We have collaborators. That is the point. We now have collaborators. When Abacha said these things are gone for so long, you have the hand and the leg of people up and down there.
Right.
It's so intertwined. They say that because we have allowed non-state actors. We say that because we have failed. Moses, if you have failed, what kind of pride will you have? We failed in doing what we need to do. So you now get this ragtag kind of human being. My position is very dire. And I don't think all Nigerians will accept that dire situation. The Nazis will actually, what I actually meant to say is that the Israelis will not condone you taking one life. You're going to pay for it. Is it going to be an eye for an eye? It's a conversation we can have. But so far, I believe what the government has not done. You know, there's a saying that when you eat, you'll be shy or ashamed because people will tell you that you are eating something. We have many of these guys. We know them. Government knows them. You are not prosecuting them. You are using them backdoor one way or the other to win elections, to do things and all that kind of thing.
I'm going to hold you with
And
this
because
line.
people know that you have all these lacuna, like lawyers will say, you have all these gaps, then you are not able to
enforce what you
frontally, and people don't trust you. So
now, I'm still going to hold you on this last line where you said they know them, like we know them rather.
Yes.
The former DG of Voice of Nigeria, I'm talking about Osita Okechukwu, came out to say that state policing would destroy democracy. Now, his reason is to the fact that the level at which politicians are becoming dictators in the land is quite alarming. So that alone would hamper democracy. First off, are you of that school of thought? Because you just said, we know them. And of course, in the words of the late Sani Abacha that says, if terrorism and all of this insecurity goes and lasts more than 48 hours, the people at the top are also a part of it. Now, that's on one part. Secondly, isn't there a way to carefully, as a nation, now I'm going to now throw this stick back to the presidency, to say, right now, we are discovering that we failed in this part. Let us get this right. And getting it right is totally getting it right and not having non-state actors become negotiators between the government and the perpetrators of this act. Isn't there any other better solution to end all of this?
So let me start from there. It's one simple, low-hanging fruit solution. Good governance. Lead by example. Lead by character. Like Reverend Bishop Matthew Kuka said, don't feast before you fast. Think of others before yourself. Don't give yourself SUVs and be living larger than life, not paying PACN, and then making life a bit difficult. We want to see leaders are not rulers. We need to be able to do that and build trust. Equal opportunity for everybody. Don't put your child, your wife, or your friend and begin to circulate corruption in the corridors of power. I'm talking of Mr. President, I'm talking of state governments, I'm talking of National Assembly. So that goes without saying. Mr. Osita Okechukwu, I respect his views. Quite a number of people who have that tendency. But don't forget something, David. I said I cannot, well, this is common sense to me. I cannot continue to do the same thing and expect a different result. So we don't go for the state police because the state actors have become virtually mad. So let's stay where we are and continue to decimate ourselves, our children, our women, our men the way they are. We have to take a step, even if in the long run, that step, we find a way to douse it, to change it, to challenge it. We are begging terrorists. These governors who have now decided to become mad, we have to also beg them. We have to find a way to checkmate them. In checkmating them, we can creatively begin to look at what should we do to make sure that at least their state assemblies live up to their billing. And any governor that wants to do a wild, wild west that we had back in the day, or any governor that wants to do the ECN thing and pander to non-state actors, any governor that wants to pander to non-state actors in the north, it's book to book. The system will decimate you. It's the reason why Donald Trump, people are saying he's going to come back. I don't have a problem with America to take a decision on how to take, but he was checkmated by the system. He was so powerful. He was checkmated by the system. So our system must now be made to work so that we reward those who are doing well and we punish those who are not doing well. If we refuse, we keep on saying we have a Nigerian police force in the center that is going to be sent to Okwama, that's going to be sent to Kwara Namoda, it's going to be sent to Guzo. We are wasting our time. We won't get there. The earlier we decimate and sit around the table and take firm decisions, forest guards, state policing, as the case might be, appropriately fashioned, so that we don't run into the problems that the Nigerian police force at the center is having, and getting people of character, competence, and capacity to man them. Nigerians can. We are doing that. Our women are doing that. We are seeing that in sports. Outside the country, we are doing that. Why is it that it is only when we come back to here in Nigeria then we begin to look for excuses? We have to do something. Let's do it now. Oh, we do it. Oh, there is a mistake or whatever it is. Laura Quinley said it. Raise up your hand. You made a mistake. We can
go back to work on it.
But not moving at all in this direction. And we keep on just lamenting and agonizing instead of organizing.
Okay, let's talk about state police funding. Well, we know very well that as it stands, the police system is being funded by the federal government. Now let's bring it down to the states. For instance, if the state begins to fund her security system, the same state that is yet to pay a 30,000 naira minimum wage will be the same state. Are we not going to start having problems where the state is going to be owing, and then we're seeing security operatives go the other way that we are scared of? Is that not going to be another situation for
David,
us? Maybe not foreseen in the future, though.
While I recognize that not all the 36 states are viable, they are not viable, they should not be there. So when we are talking about state police, we are talking about restructuring, we are talking about curtailing. You have to be bold about some of these things. You are not viable, you are not producing, and you are not doing well. We merge you, okay, constitutionally. I do not pretend that it's going to be easy. We merge you. I will approach Moses looking very dandy in this studio. And I will say, Moses, the only way is that you can't put on your suit, you can't put on your jacket, remain with the shirt. Suit that I bought with my money, yes. We need your suit to be able to protect. Okay, let's see how. So if I put my suit, what am I going to put in return? I will respect and honor you for that. Nigeria has got to get back to discussing some of these things. Now, you said the state governors who are not paying salaries now, even as unviable as these states are, I do not agree that there is any state government in Nigeria today, I'm talking of today now,
Okay.
that should not be able to pay 30,000 minimum wage. They are not doing it. And they are going with their security votes.
Okay.
They are not producing, and they are building mansions, 51 billion naira mansions. So we got all our priorities wrong. Finally, even states that are viable. So if we decide that we are going to go for state policing, then our revenue sharing formula will naturally change.
All right.
All right.
There is, you had Dr. Akim Adesina, United States of Nigeria.
Interesting.
It should be the states,
Okay. All right.
and then the
let's-
federal should just be supporting, and not the other way
let's,
around.
let's introduce to this. Let's bring into this conversation Ambassador Dr. Roy, who is a retired military veteran, a member of the American Society of Industrial Security, certified human rights consultation in the U.S. Ambassador Roy, good morning to you. Welcome to the conversation. Now we're talking about basically insecurity as this is not just insecurity that involves bandits or Boko Haram or kidnappers abducting people or killing people or sacking communities. We are talking about our security personnel being attacked and the security force being depleted, as is the case right now, what we're seeing, what we're going through in Nigeria. And these people more or less get away with it. What are your thoughts as a security expert now?
Well, thank you very much for the opportunity, and permit me to acknowledge the other guests on the studio. I can hear the passion in their voice, and it's very unfortunate that Nigerians are very frustrated right now with the benefits and the dividends they are getting from the investment we have put into security for the past 30 years. You see, now, if you look at the issues where we have been talking for over 25 years, this depreciation started over 25 years now in Nigeria. You see, where our judiciary does not penalize criminality, criminality has now been negotiated. We brought up so many contingents. We have the plea bargain, we have de-radicalization, we have amnesty, so many things we started to ascribe, and criminals now have negotiators, and government listen to these negotiators, and government has no criminal resistance. So we built a system where the police was neglected. Policing was given a kind of bodyguard role for the elite and for political office holders. So we don't have policing for the masses, and we started to have unpoliced areas. And these unpoliced areas became hibernating grounds for criminal groups. And the local government chairmen, the obas, the MIs, they began to have no reason not to bow down to these people and begin to become incriminated in kidnapping cases, banditry cases, and our mineral resources that are also spread around all these unpoliced areas became a kind of milking ground for them to make extra money. And that gave them the impetus to have alliances with foreign countries, foreign criminal gangs, and foreign economic bodies. and this is another government in a government. So the territorial integrity of Nigeria has been shared between the legitimate government and criminal governments.
Okay, Dr. Roy, you made mention of the radicalization when you're actually talking. On this note, the past administration actually introduced these operations, Save the Corridor, to make sure that they reintegrate repentant Boko Haram people into the country. And now, ex-colonel, I'm talking about Hassan Labo, came out to say that this is what is causing more of the problems that we're having in Nigeria as regards insecurity. What's your stand on that? Is that a good one, reintegrating them into the society? People who have killed, who actually have tasted power and all that. What do you make of that?
Well, Colonel Hassan Stan Lambo was my boss in the military, and we have had engagements where I respect his military articulation. Now, if you want to de-radicalize somebody that was radicalized, what are also the yardsticks that you are using to verify that this person has been de-radicalized? We have a criminal justice system, and our criminal justice system is supposed to take you through a system where you will either come out back into the society. All of these guys are not taken into the criminal justice system. And don't forget that our criminal justice system also needs cleansing. The name was changed from prison to correctional centers.
Yeah.
And we have seen that these prisons and correctional centers are also a place where you need to refine. So there was no way to know if this person has been cleansed or de-radicalized. So it became a faulty system.
Now, let me ask you quickly, what is the process of de-radicalizing an individual, especially when it involves banditry, kidnappings, and stealing? What is the process?
To me, I don't know the process government is doing, and I'm not sure that any journalist or there have been any process exposed to the public to even contribute. There are people sitting in your panel now on this TV that could contribute, listening to their commentaries so far.
Okay.
So the process is supposed to be, number one, what were you radicalized on? One, it must be a faulty Islamic mandate, where you are told that the Islam said you will be given virgins when you die, you must kill Western, this and that. So number two is drug addiction. So many of them have been addicted into drugs. Number three is the fear. So many of them, their families are being threatened to be killed if they don't get involved. So how can you remove fear from me when the person that is taking me into custody to follow them to fight is still killing your soldiers, is still collecting taxes from citizens of your state, and is still holding ground as a legitimate government in your territorial integrity? So I don't see how that their process is going to work when I am not answering for a crime I committed, and the people that radicalize me are negotiating with government and bringing bags of money to them in the bush. You are giving them motorcycles. You are giving them opportunity to take our girls from schools, rape them, turn them into housewives in the presence of the man you want to de-radicalize. That is not possible.
All right, then, unfortunately, we're pressed for time. We're done with this conversation, so we'll be going into another conversation now. We'll look at the hike in electricity tariff and the reactions that various groups have, the way various groups have reacted to this hike in electricity. So we must say a very big thank you to you, Ambassador Roy Ohidebe, a retired military veteran and a member of the American Society of Industrial Security, certified human rights consultant. all right, based on the US. Thank you very much for your time, as we will let you go now.
Very much.
When we come back, we'll be speaking more on the electricity tariff. Stay with us.